we're sort of looking at from the sports psychology side of things is how much time is spent training that psychological skills in younger children. Because it's clear that by building those skills and by becoming better at them at a younger age will mean that when they are getting into future competition and are getting into that more elite area, that they can really utilise those psychological skills. And that's where a relationship between UQ and Iona is so great, because we can come through with all the cutting edge research, and we can really look at how we can start building those psychological skills from a young age, and the ones that are going to be really applicable to your kids. I'm just going to go through a few helpful psychological techniques, and I really want to premise this that none of these and I'm not saying you have to use every single one of these, just a few things that can be beneficial. So one thing is to be really clear about your role and the role of other educators. So other educators, sports psychologists, coaches, etc. And to be really aware of how you can help, and that might mean having a discussion with the coach and having a discussion with the sports psychologist or with the dietitian or with the physiologist or anyone to be aware of coming up to the competition or during training or etc. on the actual competition day, how you can be most effective. Clear and realistic goals. Clear about a goal that they want to achieve, so it has to be personal to them. Talk to your child about what they'd like to achieve and really be clear about it. So if they say, oh yeah, I want to win and that's it, or I'd like to be an Olympian, it's like, oh, that's really great, but let's look at some sort of really clear stepping stones along the way. And SMART is to be specific, to be measurable, to be realistic, timely. So encourage fun and family with sport, specifically up to the ages of 12 and 13, but at any ages really, to make sure that there's still that element of enjoyment there. And I know when people are in that elite area, yeah, it's enjoyment, but it's also striving to be the best, and sometimes that isn't always just purely for enjoyment. But in those especially younger years, it's really important that the kids and the children have fun and they really feel like that you're part of it and that's part of their experience. When you frame something in a positive way, when it's actually doing the action rather than not doing a certain action, it has a different effect psychologically. And when you tell someone not to do something, it's already in their mind, so they can be more likely to actually do it. With imagery, what you can look at is recreating or creating an experience using all of the senses. So an example might be, okay, let's say you got a competition and it's going to be in another country, and you've never been to that country before and you've never been into that stadium before. What do you think it's going to be like? What's it going to feel like when you walk into, say, for example, a pool? What are you going to see? What are you going to smell? What are you going to hear? And by helping the child or the athlete to be able to experience all those senses while they're there, when they can actually deal with some of that anxiety or some of those nerves that might come up when they're imagining it, and when they then go into that scenario, they'll feel like they've already processed it. So the more specific you are and the more senses you use, the better it can be. And that's something that we work with all athletes from all different age ranges. But children are generally, and kids are generally really good at being able to do it because they have generally a better imagination. So self-talk is basically just what you're saying to yourself. You wake up in the morning and you've got this dialogue running through your head until you go to bed at night. And when in a competition, or just in general, it can be very easy to slip into that negative side of self-talk, especially if you're losing or you're feeling a little bit not self-confident or not confident. Then it's very easy to start saying, oh, that was so stupid, oh, I can't believe I missed that shot. And practicing on being able to recognise when that self-talk comes up and frame it to be something more positive can be really beneficial. And that's even if the child or the athlete doesn't believe what they say, it can still be helpful. So for example, oh, I can't believe I missed that pass, can be, I'll get the next one. And it's a very, very simple thing to do, but it starts to change your psychological processes and the way that you're experiencing that event. When someone's highly activated or highly angry or frustrated or depressed, to give them some time to process it themselves before you talk about it. And but also to think about some questions that you feel might be relevant towards their competition, or talk to the coach and ask them some questions that might be relevant for them specifically on how they did perform.